Okay, we are still at Reinhart Carpet Outlet in Germantown, in the Germantown area of Philadelphia. We're with the man here, the owner, Fred Reinhart. Fred, I'm very impressed with your operation.
Thank you, David. We appreciate hearing that from the industry veteran that you are.
And I'm also impressed with your general manager here.
That's Shane Barry, and Shane works hard at what he does, and we're proud of him. And he does a hard job. He does a great job, and it's a hard job, and he gives it his all.
Now, you have told me for years, as long as we've been having you on this program, that you're a dinosaur. But I don't really look at that as a dinosaur. You're really you're on the front end, really. You just have a concept that many retailers have bailed out on.
Well, bailed out on, or maybe died off from, actually.
Yeah.
That's why I give you the dinosaur analogy. When I speak to the word dinosaur, I think of the way things used to be. In the city of Philadelphia, there were, back in the 1950s through 70s through 80s, so for a 30-plus year period of time, there were an enormous number of stock floor covering operators, carpeting, tile, vinyl floor. Armstrong Floor Fashion Centers were one of the originators of the concept cell merchandising programs, and my family was involved with that, and we have maintained the commitment to inventory, stock keeping and inventory. What Shane has actually done much better than I've been able to do for myself, and Shane's youth and his energy has brought to the table, is an updating and upgrading, a more fashionable sense of presence, better use of colors, enhancements in our lighting and our showroom layout, just in the whole concept of feeling like this is a store second to nobody here in North America. Truly, with our 14,000-foot facility, you've heard me say the warehouse is the inventory, the warehouse is the showroom is the warehouse. That's us. You've been given the tour today. We segregate our goods, our offerings, our showrooms to try and better create a sense of defined order here in the store, so when you, the customer, walk through, after the initial blast of, whoa, what have I walked into? My goodness, how do I make sense of all this? Then it's easy for us to guide you through the process and bring you to a conclusion, which is a sale.
Now, one of the things Sean says, he says, you know, I'm not a salesman, I'm an order taker.
That's part of what we do here, David. Shane articulated that a lot of what you see happen here is order taking, because as you've seen, all the merchandise has a price. All the goods are labeled. In fact, it's all original label here. We do not private label a thing here in the store. We are dealing in truth. We are dealing in non-commissioned salespeople. So this is not a pressure house. This is not, we've got to sell you goods today, lady, and we've got to sell it with 3 kinds of upgrades and pad and warranty privileges and coverages. No, this is more we tell, not sell. So call it the understated or the softer sell. And yeah, in lots of instances, we revert to a order-taking role status, and our skilled selling efforts also require that from time to time, the experienced guided hand of us developed industry veterans know how to help make the sale and close the deal.
I see. And who are your customers? Who's a typical customer?
In this store, it's just not a straightforward answer. And in fact, we've been learning about the changing and growing demographic influences and specific nature of who our target customer is. It might be a little easier for me to kind of go back 30 years when I reopened the facility here and resumed the family presence back in the Philadelphia metropolitan area. We are in the Germantown section of Philadelphia. We're in the northwest section of the city. And as seems to be the habit with urban sales operations, we don't extend 30, 40, 50, 80 miles out to the suburbs and rural areas. Urban operations generally tend to be close to home, 3, 5, 7 miles. That's a lot. That's a lot of area to cover. And with a city with a pretty dense population and an ethnically diverse population. We probably started at a midpoint of middle-class folk and down would be the target customer. So with cash and carry goods, 30 years ago, if you can imagine retail price points, and they haven't changed too much these days. It's one of the things neat about our industry. Carpet that used to sell for $5, $7, $8, $10 30 years ago, you can still find a lot of goods in that same common kind of price ranges today for a variety of reasons, including technological advances at the mills. But what we've learned how to do here better is to sell more of a diverse offering of product, including even higher priced goods to all kinds of people. So the web is the primary source for our marketing efforts to be displayed to the public. Hence our website is a ever-changing and dynamic participant in our merchandising program here. And as we quiz constantly the customers as to who's coming in and what their preferences are and what they're buying and what they're seeing elsewhere. And our competition primarily is the two big boxes, Home Depot and Lowe's. And we have a virtual competitor, meaning Empire, who has no showrooms, but I explained this to you earlier in the day. We have a Home Depot to the left of us, a Home Depot to the right of us, a Lowe's to the south of us, and Empire actually circles us entirely because they canvass the marketplace quite thoroughly with their constant electronic promotion activities. So the competition does a real good job of stirring the pot and helping us to develop interest. And then seeking out our primary customer as someone who's probably within 5 miles or less of the store. It's a diverse population. Mid-incomes become kind of like a shooting point, a target point to begin at. And now we skew upwards and down from that so as to try and have a broad-based spectrum of appeal to a diverse clientele, richly populated. And the blessing for us is having been well rooted in this community for now 4 generations. My family's been in business since 1895. We work really hard to try and get all the referrals and repeat business we can from the existing base. And the purpose of the website and any other marketing efforts that we do is to then generate new customers. And we're pretty good at that. We get a fair amount of traffic that walks through the door that says, hey, we didn't even know you were here, or we never heard of the name, and we didn't know of you until we searched you on the internet. We work real hard at trying to maintain a commanding presence on the internet.
Have you ever thought about duplicating this concept someplace else in the city or in the suburbs?
Sure, especially when I was younger. The financing and the money end was probably the easier part of that equation. Finding the locations can vary, and like when you buy goods, David, it's opportunistic. Finding the right locations, there's no substitute for the right location. But the hardest part of it all, and the thing that's probably held us back from doing it, is the resource known as people. The capital one needs to invest in people. Now you're really talking about a time-consuming activity, a higher degree, a higher probability of failure rate as you bet on the wrong horse kind of a concept. And David, we set up the business model here. The analogy I use lots of times is I'm the well keeper. It's my task, it's my job, it's my domain that I've got to make sure there's there's water in the well. And when times are good, we share our water with those amongst us. And when times are tight, somebody's got to ration it out, and if need be the heavy. That's the business owner's plight, responsibility. I'm not shirking it, I don't walk from it, but to dilute myself into 2, 3, or 5 locations, of which I believe we're perfectly physically capable, I guess I just haven't been confident enough to think that I could be successful developing that kind of an armada, the army of people that I need to get the work continually done through others.
Well, it's interesting, too, how the buying end, it seems like the action, to a great extent, are the buys that you make. I mean, you get the
It's
people in
certainly-
the door, but you've got tons of product in here to show them, and that's the core of this organization, isn't it?
It's certainly the adrenaline rush side of this business. It's a real good feeling when you make what you know in your guts is a good buy. Sometimes you think you really made a good buy, and then it just lays there like a turkey, like a dead dog. Like, my goodness, what did I do? I thought I really had it together on this one. We get them, David. We've had buys that you would think, oh, geez, why did I do that? And it flies out the door. And we've had it the other way. So finding the deals is a challenge. It's an ongoing challenge. Executing the deals, certainly thrilling. Bearing fruit is what it's all about. And that's what we're in business for. First and foremost, we're in business to make a profit.
Now, obviously you're an important outlet for manufacturers that have goods that they sell. I mean, number one, I guess there's not that many roll dealers around in the first place, but the products that they offer you, I mean, do you have to take the bad with the good? Is that normally how it works? Hey, I got this great deal, but you get a lot of this stuff that is a dog?
David, it can go that way sometimes. Opportunistic buying is a function of what's there at a given moment in time. We've developed enough trusted sources to buy blind. We'll get a quantity count of pieces of rugs, description of manufacturer or face weights or yarn contents. We'll maybe be shown pictures. And in other instances, we've actually bought things strictly and straight out blind.
Picking a poke, you don't know what you've got until you open the box.
We're taking on faith that you say that trailer load of merchandise is what you say it is, and is in the condition that we can turn it around and process it to suit our needs and resell it promptly and call you back and clamor for more. That's what we hope happens on these buys. And yes, we've developed enough security in our relationships with certain key suppliers, and then we kind of use that as a model in seeking out new opportunities that come along. And
they don't want to burn you either, do they? I mean, they want to stick you with
no. David, why would you want to do that? Right? That's not the way you'd want to do business. If it's a hit one time and be gone, well, that's what you actually have to kind of watch out for, because there are a lot of people out there that if it really does sound too good, it was too good and it wasn't as was discussed.
But obviously you're important to them, and they want you to be happy, and they're going to be honest with you on the front end.
Well, paying the bill on the barrelhead is what the key is there. You won't get the call from the suppliers unless they know that they can trust on your side the expectation that when you say you'll take it, you will take it, and you will pay for it, and there won't be any muss and fuss on the other side. In our industry, there are people, and you retailers out there, I'm sure, know them. The factories call us the complaint artists, the schlee artists, the ones who just figure out ways to contrive reasons to start chopping on the bills. We've never gone that way. We've seen it, but we don't go that way.